I talked about what was going on in Texas, I'm like, where's Masubi when you need her? Because Masubi's out there. She's front lines. I tell you, she is out there in Austin, and she's really working really hard. So it's like, Masubi, get the word out.
Right, this was like a big deal. I don't know about other Tea Parties, but at least in Illinois, this was a big deal. And there were many groups that went out to town zoning meetings to protest the approval of zonings for Islamic centers. And they were buying up like former public schools or office buildings or what have you. Because once they have an Islamic center, then they basically, it's like a embassy almost, and they start bringing in tons of people from whatever religious division or whatever cult that they're in, and they have money and they start buying apartment buildings and they start buying everything around, like a radius around that Islamic center. And before you know it, the entire town, everyone's left, and all you have left is this enclave. And I mean, the biggest problem about it is they start doing Islamic law, and they start treating people terribly. And I was starting to have a big problem where I was living, a big problem, which I've talked about many times.
Well, I know that from all the reports I saw, they've admitted they want to bring Sharia law into that area. From what I don't know if that's somebody's opinion or if that is what they said. I saw one report that said that there was a protest in basically this Epic Center, this group. Let's see, I can't remember the name of it now, but they have basically said you can't stop it. You can't stop what we're going to do. We're going to do it whether you like it or not. So it's like, the heck you say. We get enough people out there and start getting out there and pounding on, well, not pounding, don't be like those fools during the Kavanaugh hearings, but, get out there and let your congressman know that you don't approve of this, then, yeah.
I mean, in a sense, they're correct. It can't be stopped on religious grounds, which is at some point here, I don't know what case it is, but somebody has to find a perfect case where this goes up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court rules that you cannot have religious laws of any sort that are contrary to the law of the land. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But as far as saying that a group of people can't create an enclave, that's like a whole area of like it's like anti-American in a way to like create laws that say that, like, how do you even do it? I mean, they are actually right that in our system, there is no good way to say we're just not going to have an Islamic center here. And nobody's really been able to find laws that work, because no matter what you do, it's a civil rights problem. And so you have to go about it like with hiring an engineer, like we got rid of them, where we're saying that you don't have the parking capacity at this property to be an Islamic center. There's not enough fire exits. There's not, it's too close to the road. Like, find anything to make it stop. But it was never that we could make it stop because they're in a jihad against us. I mean, really, the only way you can make it stop like that is if President Trump declared certain Islamic groups as domestic terrorists. Then you can confiscate their property. And I guess probably someday that's what it's going to come down to. Maybe a governor can do that. I don't know.
I know.
Islam isn't even a religion. It's different than it's a political movement of Muslims. Muslims are fine. I mean, I've had lots of Muslim friends, but they're not Islamists.
Yeah, but I know Kim Paxton, there was something, I don't have the link anymore, but Ken Paxton was looking into it. I know he was one of the ones bringing the, sounding the alarm on it, I guess you could say, because it's, this is how, this is what was blamed on the 9/11, September 11, 2001 attackers was jihad. That's what the narrative was. This is jihad. So
Well, right, they had out of Chicago, is it the Holy Land Association case, where they tried to have a case where they declared these basically Islamist movements as terrorist movements. And I don't remember the deal, but the case was thrown out in essence. And all the terrorists who they got all the paperwork, all their planning, these jihadists, like violent training manuals, locations, bank accounts, money. It involved like that care and all these so-called charities, Islamic charities and stuff. And we had everything there on paper that they confiscated out of this office. And they, because of Bush, who's so tied up in the Middle East with the oil and all that, they never went through with it. And there's, that guy Haney and all these people that have been found dead next to the side of the road a long time ago. I mean, and this is like prominent in the Q posts about Michelle Bachmann and the witch hunt. Well, Michelle Bachmann, her whole thing was about the Holy Land case and the Islamic threat and the jihad officially proclaimed according to what they had. China's declared a people's war against us. And we got the report from the general. That's a real thing that really happened. And they definitely should be considered they consider themselves at war against us, but we never acknowledge it because we wanted to keep getting cheap crap from them, basically. And because they have us by the balls because we can't even make our own medication here. But they declared a people's war on us. And it's very similar, really, to a jihad.
Yep. Yeah, Dynamax says, wonder if they're being paid. I think that too. Who's paying them to come in and do this? I mean, that takes a lot of money. I think it may even be because of Telegram, because all of my information was on Telegram, and if I could pull it back up off of Telegram, I would, and because they're spending a lot of money, because the land that they are purchased or they're looking at, it's 402 acres of land, or is it, 402 acres.
Well, yeah, I mean, the little town I was living in, the only people that had money were these, I know a lot of the original Islamist infiltration of this country, the funding came through the Gulen Foundation, which was actually a guy out of India who lives in a massive mansion in Pennsylvania with armed guards and all this stuff. And he died. I gleefully announced that. He died like here within the last 6 months, I think. And he was running charter schools, aka sucking up federal funds, friend of Clinton's, and getting his army through the door with as English Islamic teachers at his charter schools. And when people checked into it, none of them spoke English. So it was a visa work permit scam as well. Like every scam you could think of, it was. And the guy I don't know who funded him, if it's usually these royal families, like Prince Dopey are behind all this, and they actually it's oil companies and oil interests and stuff, but they have more money than, look at the earthquake we just saw in Myanmar. People are like in apartment buildings with skyscraper top swimming pools. Who has that here? Nobody. They have high speed monorail trains. They have beautiful streets. I could barely drive down my street without my teeth breaking with the potholes. These people it's all the money has been sucked out of this country into other countries, and then they're taking, in essence, our money and weaponizing it back against us. I mean, Trump is so right about what he's saying with the tariffs and stuff. It is literally an absolute joke. Our airports look like a disaster. Their airports look like George Jetson's going to come flying by. You know, I mean, it's just absolutely a disgrace what our elite have done.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them mail their daughters, marry their daughters off to these freaking Saudi royals and all these people. And, you know, that's fine or whatever. But if you have any concept of history, when Spain and parts of France were invaded by the Moors had all the money, you know. This is really actually the cause of the Dark Ages, actually, in so many ways. And these guys were throwing their daughters at these invaders to make them part of the harem so that they had influence over the courts in these Moorish Islamic caliphate. I mean, these guys weren't even, you know, a lot of them were Germans who converted to Islam when they moved to North Africa during the fall of the Roman Empire. I mean, a lot of them were actually white, and they had these caliphates and massive all these white girls who are former princesses and stuff in these Germanic provinces and provinces of France and stuff were now girls in a harem. I mean, and that's where we're at. All of our beautiful women are marrying all the Islamic guys in the, you know, Arab Emirates and all this stuff. It blows my mind. And I don't understand why people are like, don't see it. It's right in front of your face. Even freaking Lindsay Lohan went over there and married some dude. Like, even the kind of rejects are going over there. That's where all the money is.
Did she do it on her own free will, or was she brainwashed to do it?
Why wouldn't you? She was totally burned up in Hollywood, burned up, burned out, drug addict, disaster. And she got into the harem or whatever with some prince, whatever, Saudi, I don't forget which country it is. And now she's living a clean life in a beautiful house in a beautiful city, no longer having to sleep on a casting couch with the likes of, like, what's his name? You know,
Weinstein?
Gross, disgusting pieces of shit to try to have some walk-on appearance on a 2-bit TV show or whatever. She's like, and she's got a baby and had all the, you know, good plastic surgery, not like the crappy Miami kind of plastic surgery. You know, she's living the high life with her Islamic prince or whatever. And so it's definitely a thing. I mean, where did the Jackson girls go when the whole Jackson family nightmare went down? Oh, they were in Saudi Arabia or wherever they went. I think one of them married into one of those families. I mean, if you need some cash, that's where you go. And, like, you can have one of those marriages where it's like, oh, you know, we're married because Islam makes us have to be married, but it's like done in a way where it's easily undone and you get a nice big check at the end. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, just show up to the functions as arm candy, you know.
Well, it's basically the same thing as a harem. It's just they do this, like, I don't know, it's like a marriage of convenience type thing but it's really just kind of like a prenup situation. So
Yeah. Well, and you talk about Miramar, that earthquake. Did you see that one building collapse?
yeah,
Do you notice how it just came down straight? Kind of makes me wonder what building was it. I can't remember. I think I saw it. Someone said it was.
Yeah, but that building was under construction,
Yeah.
so it didn't have all of its structural integrity yet. So I didn't really think much of that one.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just saw it and I thought, that's the way it came down straight down. It just reminded me of all the pictures of was it Building 7 that came straight down during 9/11?
Yeah. I don't know. It's like my understanding has always been that when the building doesn't have when a building's being built, it's until it's like done and you don't have all of the structure in there, it's very dangerous. Because my dad built buildings his entire life. And part of being a good engineer is not only what the structure of the completed building, but the construction process itself to make it safe enough where in other words, you want to put the tinker toy together the right way so it doesn't collapse before you even get done. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did
Well,
you hear
anyway,
about all the protests going on today?
Oh yeah, I went out
Okay.
and filmed. We
All
had
right.
lots of people out here.
Yeah,
I mean-
we still got the fools. They're marketing themselves as different now. It's take it all back, or
Hands
the
off.
way they're marketing it.
It's
Just
hands off.
crazy. Hands off, yeah.
Right, it's literally, I don't even know. I can't think of what's a good word, guys, for being so retarded it's beyond retarded. So it's hands off our country for the oligarchs. When Trump he just decimated their network in like 3 days. Our top million billionaires have lost like unbelievable gobs of money and will continue losing because all of their fortunes are based on slave labor in China, and the money train is over. So how on earth can you be out there protesting that Trump and Elon Musk have bought our country when he just wiped out the oligarchs? It's like, yeah, subtarded. I don't even know what the right word is, freedom fighter. Subtarded. That's a good one. Because it's literally a complete mirror of reality.
Well, but they still have places where they can hide that money too. I don't know where, but I'm sure that they've got hidey holes somewhere where they can still get some of their cash somewhere.
Right, but they have their
to pay
income
these
stream.
people.
The income stream that they had has been dried up. So you can hide the money that you had, assuming you're not leveraged, and most of these people are leveraged. Every penny that comes in is loaned out in some other scam. And so the revenue stream, your Chinese slave labor, has been pulled out from under you. And so you can think of these guys sort of as plantation owners after the Civil War. It's not, they may be okay as long as their savings continue, which maybe for the rest of their lifetime, maybe not, because a lot of them do leverage that money. They don't just leave money sitting around. They make it work, quote unquote. But their income stream, their entire model of why they're a billionaire has just been pulled out from under them, in the same way the plantation owners who depended on slave labor were SOL after the Civil War. So that's what I'm saying. And, some of these guys fighting all this time to try to stop Trump from doing this, they might be leveraged just based on, paying for buying the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, for example. That costs a lot of money. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just some idiot. I'm not a financial wizard. I don't understand why these people are wealthy to begin with. They don't make anything except making asses of themselves on TV all day. I really don't know what these people do. I don't even get it. But I do know that one way or another, all their wealth, like especially the Walton family, with Walmart, all
Yeah.
their wealth depends on cheap crap from China. That's all I know. And I feel like that's probably some of what I'm saying is probably accurate. And I'm sure there's people in chat who work in the financial industry and maybe they think I'm totally wrong. Maybe they totally agree with me. I have no idea. But I'm sure we'll hear from people going forward and we'll have to kind of decide what we think. A lot of what I'm saying is basically a lot of what Steve Bannon says. And he did graduate from Harvard, I think, Harvard Business School, I think. And he was worked for some of the biggest financiers for that era of his life. And then he was like a financial guy in Hollywood for another 20 years or whatever. So the guy's most of his life been in finance until he met Andrew Breitbart, actually. So Andrew changed a lot of lives.
Well, I worked in the financial. I wasn't a broker or anything, but I worked as a financial with the financial advisors in the financial industry in Wall Street for about 12 years. So, yeah, the whole thing. I mean, and it's like I've said before, the markets are manipulated. People don't understand that even under Obama there were crashes, but it wasn't reported because they recovered so quickly. And it's really and a lot of it is so digital. It's where's the decimal point, and people don't understand that. So
Yeah. And these algorithms just have a life of their own. When something triggers one, it's just all these, they have the cell triggers and that, and it just rolls on. I noticed this time they didn't shut off the computer like they do sometimes to prevent a panicky day. They let it roll,
yeah,
which they could have shut it off. But I don't think Trump cares. I think Trump at this point, he wants to crush these people. And so everyone's
So
going
do-
to have to go buy bonds, and people who buy bonds, in essence, are making the cost of borrowing money go down. And so they're buying our debt, which is exactly what we needed to begin with to finance our financial deficit at reasonable interest rates. And the reason why we couldn't is because no one was buying the bonds. Well, they're over at the bond window now, baby.
yeah. Well, my former boss, he's been in the business for over 60 years. So he was with Merrill Lynch, and he and two other guys got together and had their own LLC and their own company. Each partner had their own staff members and employees and everything. And one of the things he would say is, when things like this happens, it's there's got to be a correction because the market's gone up so much. There's going to be a correction, and it happens. Seems like roughly approximately every 20 years there's a correction, and it's usually under a Republican president. There was one in '84. There was one in, of course, we had the marketing crash in 2008. So there's all sorts of things. But
I mean, like people in chat are saying, it crashes and then they buy low, and yeah, I'm sure you're right. But on the other hand, like the whole world, like these people went to bed one night and it was like it always is. When they woke up the next morning, everything's different now. How did they even know what to buy when there's not going to be cheap crap from China anymore? Do you see what I mean? It's like not going to be the same because the reason it crashed is not the same. It's that one day everybody's formulas was let's outsource everything and do predatory capitalism or whatever they call it, and mergers and acquisitions and that stuff. And now they wake up the next day And you should be investing on Main Street and little guys doing parts businesses that are part of an automotive supply chain or whatever. This is just a world that probably no one alive has ever invested in at all. They're used to going to Dubai to make investments, not downtown Tulsa, for example. So this is like a whole new world. And
Well,
we'll see how it works out. But I mean, these guys that are just kind of, a lot of these finance guys are very formulamatic. Like they have a formula. It's almost like a lucky rabbit's foot for them. They always, when this happens, always do that. And when that happens, always do this. All of that's out the window.
well, and two, it depends on who they're getting their information from. Because I know my grandson, my boss, he would. There are certain people who had been in the business. They knew how to read the signs, and he kind of would use their advice. And I mean, a good investor is going to diversify. And if they're not diversified, and if they're only in one thing, they're going to be hurting more. It's the people that have, like, maybe all stocks versus mutual funds. It's all kind of relative in a sense that it just depends on what you do and how much of an investor you are.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. It's the watching. I mean, like I said, I go back to my former boss because I watched him, and he would always have to calm people down. I think they finally got to the point because I'm in contact with one of my coworkers, and I'll ask her, "How's it going? Are people panicking yet?" And she's like, "Nope. I think Brent has gotten everybody used to, and just, they wait it out. They've learned to wait it out. Some of them have. But you got these young ones that don't even know what a correction is. And you got people, they just see it's going down, and they assume that the market is the economy, and that's not true.
Yeah.
The market is a false economy. It's what people seem to gauge, but it's not really reality.
Right. All I want to see is slowly but surely, I just want to see small towns and just like, can we like have stores again? Like just see some sign of life. Like, how about we like build a nice airport, or how about just even fix the roads somewhere? Just to see there being some capital in the United States again.
Yeah.
And seeing people say, hey, I'm going to open a business. It's like it used to be back in the day. I had a lot of friends, even if you just talk about like the smallest of smallest businesses, and they all went bust under Obama. And just to see people even just think about like just getting rid of the regulation and just drive around town and not be depressed, I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm tired of driving around and everything's in decline and everything's depressing. And then I'm like some kind of, Mrs. Havisham, where my only joy is thinking back to these sunny days in the past and like just reminiscing all the time. I'm tired of reminiscing. I want to reminisce about now. I want to like walk outside and be like, wow, that's really cool. I can't wait for this or whatever. And I'm living in an area that's actually in good shape, and it's still terrible compared to what things used to be.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that about the schools. It drives me absolutely. I just when I drop my grandson off and I'm watching him actually go behind bars, that's what it reminds me of. I'm going behind bars. It's like, oh, you're going into jail, for the next 8 hours or whatever. And so and then if you go and pick them up, you got to wait for the gates to open. So it's just like, yeah. And you talk about the depression. when we went and toured the Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm just looking at this, and we're going down some of the side streets, and you could smell the. I mean, I don't know what. I didn't know what pots smell like, and I'm asking my daughter, "Is like, does this smell like pot? Is this pot?" And she's like, "Yeah." I mean, I don't know what it smells like, and I don't hang around people who smoke pot all the time, so I'm like, ugh. I mean, it was reeking in the Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm looking at some of the old, old celebrities on the stars, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and there's cracks in the, it's like no one bothered to, maintain it, and it's just so run down and
They don't have the money to
grungy.
maintain anything.
Yeah, tell me about it. In California, nope. No, it's all the
All the money has been offshored. All the jobs are offshore. The tax base is offshored. All they have is retail, and retail's going all to the internet, and all the stores are closing. There's nothing left.
Yeah, this was it under,
Restaurants, that's about it. There's not a very high profit margin on restaurants. Most restaurants don't even make it. The profit margin is, just a sliver of profit.
Was it, you said Obama, let's see, didn't they start shipping out under either Clinton or Bush 43? They started shipping. Because I can remember, the help desk, I'm actually working, was it working for the state or no, working for this investment firm? And I'm calling the help desk, and they're over in India. They're doing these remote jobs from India, and people with very heavy, the call centers. You could hear the very thick accents. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to see jobs come back. I mean, I wish they would utilize the old abandoned buildings, whether you have to tear it down and rebuild or whatever, but use the old abandoned buildings that have been boarded up.
Well, they'll do that in
going to
Chicago.
find a new.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in Chicago, like old factories became loft apartments and office buildings, and they're going to be converted back to manufacturing, I hope, because Chicago doesn't have a choice. They have zero tax base, and they were counting on the federal bucks coming in through the migrants. And now that the migrants are going to be removed, they got nothing. I mean, it's a scary. I mean, we're juggling a lot of scary things at once. And post-COVID, the only money coming in was borrowed money to support the migrant industry for a lot of areas. So, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and I'm glad we have Trump, and not just Trump, just some of the people around him, that are not, there are people who've thought about this for a while and are not stupid people. But some of these European countries, oh my. I mean, all the capital has been sucked out of Europe too. So, yeah.
Well, that's like, and people around here are just, I got in conversation earlier. I found out that because I work for the county, I work in a school district, and they have an after school care, and they have a food program that the way I understood it, or I understand it, is a private grant. A couple, I think they passed on, but when they passed away, they had come up with this grant, and the city or the county was subsidizing it. Well, now that the fraud is being exposed and, you're seeing it dried up, I think the grant is still there, but the money is drying up. Or maybe it's the grant money. Anyway, the city's not going to subsidize the hot meal, because some of these kids don't, maybe get only one hot meal. But I've also seen some of these kids with very nice shoes, very nice clothes, that, nicer shoes than I have. And
Speaking of clothes, I'm sorry because I do have to go, but I want to bring this up because Eunice out there brought it up. So I've mentioned many, many times that my first job out of college was for a Chicago fashion designer. And she did off the rack. She also did, individual pieces, wedding dresses and stuff. So she was, her stuff was like at Baumwood Teller and I Magnin and stuff like that, high end stuff, Neiman Marcus. Anyway, I don't know why, but somebody's putting talking points out to the lefty lunatics and neocon Inc. people because every time I turned around on X last night, I saw people saying, what is Trump thinking? Would you really want to work behind a sewing machine making clothes? Like, what is this talking point? So I was like going nuts last night answering that question and saying some of the most glorious years of my life was working for that fashion designer. And yes, I went on the factory floor and would help, put all the fabric out. And then the pattern cutter would come and do the pattern and do all that stuff. I wasn't actually skilled enough to work on the sewing machines, but I did do some hand needlework and stuff that they showed me I could do at my desk to help them out. And so, yes, being on the cutting floor in a fabric, in a clothing manufacturer, who on earth wouldn't want that job if they love sewing and fashion? It was my dream job. These people that this was their talking point to make, oh, I'm going to turn on Trump because he wants to manufacture clothes in the United States. And that means there would be people who get to sew, like those people that sew pillows over at My Pillow and don't quit on, their kind of crazy boss, Mike Lindell. Like, why on earth would it be a problem to make clothes here? It was just the most insano, whack job, weird talking point. And then I was thinking, well, why did you pick the garment industry? And which used to be thriving in this country. And then I thought about it. You want to know why? Because they didn't want to talk about that the elite and the Chinese have partnerships in almost everything else. So they couldn't say, like, you could say, like, you don't want to work in a slaughterhouse. That people would be like, nah, I don't want to do that, But they're not going to do that because the Chinese own all of our meat processing plants, right? And they couldn't talk. I was going through all the industries in my head that they can't talk about because either they own it and are making so much money off it, or they've sold out to China over it. So the only thing they had left was the garment industry, was my conclusion, because they sold out on fabric and clothing. All the weaving looms here are closed and everything, and those all went to Pakistan and India and all over Asia and stuff. I mean, they used to make fabric in Chicago and New York. And so,
yeah, I know.
all the way
I know
into
a
the
lady,
80s.
yeah, I know a lady who was from Lebanon. She used to make clothes when she lived in she's like, she did all the fashion. She came to the United States and had her own clothing here in the United States. And she said she was very young. She has a really interesting story to tell. But
I mean, that's like another one of those weird things about, if you're really into the JFK thing, 3 or 4 of the top key players in the assassination story were dressmakers. Zapruder was a dressmaker who had a dressmaking little factory floor. And he went out with his camera and his assistant. He was a dressmaker. And there's other characters that were also dressmakers. It was normal. And then downstairs was the store, and people came in and had clothes made and went in the store. I mean, this was like normal because it was less expensive to make clothes here than have Chinese slaves make it. So I don't know if that'll ever happen because clothing is kind of uniquely suited to slave labor. But it's like just insane. I mean, it just makes me sad. So I don't know.
Do you, and I know this is kind of different, but do you remember the slogan back in the 80s, you know, trying to get people to buy American? And you remember that jingle, look for the union labor,
Yep.
or label.
Yep.
I just, like, that keeps running to my mind every time I think about some of this stuff. You know, bring
Yeah.
American back. And you know,
Well,
buy
the
American
Republicans
and-
did quite a number on the unions. And we were kind of brainwashed, I think, into doing that, taking down the unions. But to be fair, the unions, they weren't really running a clean operation, let's put it that way, especially in places like Chicago. So, you know, a lot of cement shoes, a lot of missing funds. So that was a problem. But the concept was not a problem. Right. They can bring back, you're right, Ridgewalker. I mean, you could bring back American fashion because things like laying patterns and cutting the fabric, the pattern cutters used to be one of those time-consuming things that only one guy was good enough to do it. But that's all done now by computer, like with a
yeah.
big cutter, because it's so expensive if you cut, you know, you do like 30 layers at a time with these big saw kind of thing. And if you cut the pattern wrong, you've just wasted so much fabric. That's like, oh, that's a disaster. You could ruin a designer over one wrong cut. So, like, that pattern cutter would go outside and smoke like 10 cigarettes and come in and be like, let's do this. Totally freaked out they might make a mistake. So, that's how it was back then. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I do have to get going here. My son has the flu or something, so I kind of want to
Oh no.
check on him and see what's going on. Yeah, he woke up with a sore throat. He has like a coat on, and he's sitting in his room, kind of shivering and stuff. So I don't know.
Go check
Hopefully, it's
on
just
him.
a little 24-hour thing. I hope.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for talking with me.
Yeah, as always. And so I'll talk to all you guys tomorrow morning. Have a good evening.
It's out. Bye. It's always an education. I always get educated when I talk to you.
Well, that's because until my voice gets out, I never stop. Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, Erin. Have a good one.
You too.
Okay, everybody. This is On a Wing and a Prayer. I am Deb65. I have a show on Thursday mornings from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern, and then, of course, at this time, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. So adjust for your time zone. So while I get the show opener, hopefully my Zoom share will not freeze like it has been, and I can do my show opener. And I shall return. Or hold on, let me, trying to do like 3 things at once, so we're gonna, hopefully this will work. Okay. All right. Let's get it on. Oh, put in a 1 if you are gonna stick around, so I can give you a shout out.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand an evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all of the fiery darts of the wicked one. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all the perseverance and supplication for all the saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, and willfully so, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. Amen.
Father God, I ask now for an impartation of your Holy Spirit. May the fullness of the Spirit of Jesus rest upon President Trump, that he be anointed with wisdom and understanding, with your counsel and might, with knowledge and fear of the Lord. And accordingly, may President Trump not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears, or lean on his own understanding, but may he recognize your prompting and move according to your guidance. I ask that you give me to know who is trustworthy and who is not. Bring into the light all deception and intrigue. Expose and reverse the plans of those who would harm President Trump and this nation. In the name of Jesus, I break off all voices and influence that do not come from you, Father God. May your truth and peace surround and reign in the White House. God, you have raised up President Trump to govern at a time when there is a resurgence of oppression. Only you, Lord Jesus Christ, can anoint him to have victories over strongholds and to establish justice for the needy. Give him strength and courage to persevere in the constant battle that surrounds him, and refresh him. Father God, I see that you have such a tender heart for President Trump. Draw him close to you. I ask now for an impartation of hunger for you, so that he may love you with all his heart, soul, mind, and strength, and delight in knowing you. And if he came and whispered your name, may he go forward shouting your name. In Jesus' name, in the name of my King, I bless you.
Okay, we definitely need prayers work. Okay, let me, all right, going to do this real quick, take down that. Alrighty. Yeah, hey, JLAC, yeah, my every summer when my sister and I were little, I think until I was about 8 years old, every summer my mother and my grandmother would get together and they would make us a whole new wardrobe during the summer. So they would get the patterns, get the material, and of course with my sister and I being like 1 year apart, or 3 years apart, I take that back, sometimes my mother, they used the same pattern, and my mother tried to dress us up as twins. So, okay, so I see that Alan 101, Heidi Jensen, Dynamax says he's leaving, Oliver Twisted Smoke, and Dynamax is saying Honduras moved to, Fruit of the Loom moved to Honduras in 2014. let's see, where else? Let's see, okay. Well, as I was telling Erin, so apparently the money has dried up, so they are not doing the food. You know, of course, I mean, I kind of figured something, you know, and I'm telling you, I really think they knew this ahead of time, probably earlier than what people think, even probably before the election. And the reason why I said this, because they were like, well, the money's dried up, they're not funding, because we didn't have a spring break. Usually, well, you know, I've only been working for the school district in the last two school years. So from the 2023 to 2024 school year, and the 24 to 25 school year. So like last year, they had a spring break. You know, they had a spring break camp where the kids could come and they served meal. This year, they didn't even have spring break. And then, you know, of course, the narrative was they didn't even, wherever, I guess the city decided they weren't going to fund it. And then somebody came up and says, will you put one on, but would you like to do a camp? But, you know, it was like a month ahead of time. And my supervisor, you know, says, you know, I started working on this year's summer camp, you know, last year. So, I mean, it takes planning. It takes time to plan these things. And so I don't know what's going to happen to this program. And I mean, people are panicking, and I was telling Chris Croy on Thursday morning, because, and here's another thing, I don't know, I know things can be organic, but it's just that I've seen enough in the last, let's say 10 years to know, you know, what are the odds, what are the chances that it's all connected. But apparently there was ICE immigration came in while we were gone for spring break, and had a staging area at the community center where I work at. And my first thought, you know, of course, it was like, oh, it's a good thing the kids were there. I doubt if ICE would have used it as a staging area if they knew the kids were going to be there. So they're using the narrative that there is no funding, but what is the possibility that they had already been contacted with the district, with the county, even though it's a sanctuary county? What are the odds that they would do that kind of timing and have their presence during that particular time? So that's education is so broken. Videos of fights between, I tell you what. So I'm just kind of wondering what's going to happen with the after school program. I mean, we are doing, you know, my supervisor said that I could work as a staff member, so they're not getting rid of me quite yet, which is great, which is good. But, you know, people with the school district is like, what's going to happen? And, you know, of course, I just keep my mouth shut. You know, the best thing to do is keep your mouth shut, keep my head down, you know, go in, cook what I'm supposed to, and just do whatever, and just be careful what I say to whomever I say it. So anyway, what else can I tell you about? Yeah, I was never one. I tried to sew a wraparound skirt, and I never could do a straight line. So here is something. Okay. Here is something that I didn't get to with Erin, but This is actually comes from the Stars and Stripes. So this is a military newspaper or publication. This, of course, is March the 6th, and it says hundreds of students demonstrate in support of diversity at 4 Defense Department schools overseas. So they're not even in the United States. It's like, what are they being told? So, and this is Ramstein Air Base in Germany. You know, why does it everything seem to go back to Germany? They also did one in Asia too, in the can't remember. Okay, it'll say. So hundreds of Defense Department students in Europe and Asia staged a walkout Thursday to rally. Remember, this has been a month ago, against the removal of diversity initiatives, symbols, and ideas in their schools as part of the largest student-led demonstration so far this year on U.S. military bases. You know, the first demonstration was at Humphreys High School in South Korea, where about 175 students walked out of class starting at 8:30 a.m. for about 50 minutes. In Europe, about 225 students at Ramstein High School left classes and circled the high school track carrying signs with slogans such as "Solidarity in diversity and censorship is un-American." What the? Yeah, right. It's so un-American, but yet when you got people like Zuckerberg doing it, and you know, everybody hear about Zuckerberg saying they're going to stop with the fact checking on Facebook, and it's like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it happen. So according to images shared with Stars and Stripes, across town, roughly 100 students at Kaiserslautern High School gathered in a courtyard for about 25 minutes while 150 participants joined the walkout at Wiesbaden High School. People who were there said the Department of Defense Education Activity manages 161 schools with more than 66,000 students from families of U.S. military personnel and DoD civilians worldwide. So Tristan, an 18-year-old senior who helped plan the Ramstein demonstration, said students coordinated with some of the other schools to try and make it the biggest walkout in DoDA history. So that would be the Department of Defense Education Activity history. Oh, goodness. Bring back AP Psych? All history matter? You probably don't even know history. Guess what? We all live history. This affects people everywhere, everyone. So our message is to show that even though we may be kids, we definitely still have a voice, he said on a phone Wednesday night. As the next generations of voters, we can choose how we're going to live the rest of our lives. We can speak out. And by the way, I read one article that said that the kids didn't want to give their last names because they didn't want it to be a blowback on their family members. Talk about education. How is life in California? I have mixed feelings about California. Some students who spoke to Stars and Stripes asked to go by their first names to protect their parents from potential retribution. All students quoted are legally adults or said they spoke with their parents' blessings. Stars and Stripes was not permitted to take photos, of course not, or interview students during the walkouts and was barred from observing the demonstration at Ramstein. DODEA requires parental consent for media engagement with students who are minors. Well, you know, that would make sense. Minors, and the fact that, it could be, there could be a safety issue just for the simple fact, not just the fact that they're minors, but they're military families, Coordination that was not possible in advance without knowing which students would take part, DODEA said in a statement Thursday. We acknowledge students' rights to express themselves at school. However, it is important to clarify that we do not endorse walkouts, DODEA Europe spokeswoman Jessica Tackerberry said in a statement Thursday. We have taken proactive steps to de-escalate the situation, ensure student safety, and prevent disruption to the instructional day. The 86th Airlift Wing in Ramstein said it recognizes the students' concern over recent school policy changes. Student-led walkouts remaining on school campuses ensures students can exercise the right to free speech in a manner that is peaceful and appropriate, and we are thankful the events today were conducted safely, the wing said in a statement Thursday. The students on Thursday pushed back against Pentagon directives to eliminate books, clubs, programs, signs, curriculum, and materials considered to be part of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They probably don't even know what they're even protesting. They just get it from, what everybody else is telling them. The changes that stem from executive orders issued to end DEI programs in military and in schools, including one titled Ending Radical Indoctrination in K through 12 Schooling. It's indoctrination. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also has criticized diversity efforts as divisive. Our diversity is not our strength, Hegseth said while speaking about the military in a January 29th Fox News interview. Our unity and our shared purpose is our strength. About 50 students at Patch Middle School were the first in DODEA to stage a walkout, that coincided with the February 11th visit by Hegseth at Stuttgart for a high-level meeting. You know what they need to do is I hope what what is his title again? Hold on. Defense Secretary Hegseth. I hope Pete Hegseth had a meeting and they could discuss what it was that they're really trying to plan or what they really were doing, and get these kids to understand what they're talking about or why they're doing what they're doing. I know it's like why should we be having these discussions with these they're still kids in some cases, but like the high schoolers. And I mean, if they're high schoolers and middle schools, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to open a dialogue maybe. There have also been demonstrations in Japan at Naoshi Kinnick High School on Yokosuka Naval Base and at Kadena High School. At Ramstein, Tristan said the school's Pride Club exists under a new name, but it can't engage in any activities. He says he's been subjected to more homophobic harassment at school and on base since the new policies have been enacted. Well, okay, my question is, has he really been, or is it that he is projecting? Maybe he's more of aware that because maybe he can't openly talk about whatever. I mean, I don't know if this means that he is, but they label everything as homophobic. If you speak out against something like that, that lifestyle, that choice, they call you a homophobe. I'm not afraid of people. You're a person to me. I'm not afraid of you. I mean, I agree with your choice, but that doesn't mean I'm afraid of you. I care about you enough to tell you what the truth is, but that doesn't mean I'm afraid of you. Tristan also lamented that scores of books have been removed from library shelves. DODEA officials said the books remained under review and had been set aside in the schools. So they're going through to check and make sure that the content is age appropriate. That's like they say book banning. out of schools. It's not banned books. You can still go to a public bookstore and get these books. It's just they're trying to get them out of the hands of the kids. I mean, that's like, parental controls on your whatever devices, to make sure that you're not watching, that your kids aren't watching inappropriate material. Why? Because it's the parent. I mean, the thing is when you have an organization who is basically, for a brief moment of time in the day, they are responsible for your kids because you have to work or whatever. They have to make sure that they are doing right for everybody. That would be like well, and I run into this with doing the food prep. You got people who have food allergies, so you have to be careful. You can't. I can't use a lot of spices. I can't use any salt. I can't. I have a couple. I got one that is allergic to peanut butter. I have one. Here's a kicker. I have one that can't have cheese because of the dairy, but yet, the milk that they serve is like 1%, which is practically water. But because, it's in her paperwork that she can't have any kind of milk, we have to order special milk. So, let's see. At Humphreys, student created news videos covering topics such as Black History Month are still allowed but will no longer be shared at the school's social media accounts, Senior Ava Eddington said Wednesday at the base library. Fellow Senior James West, a 4-year member of the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, said he felt a sense of duty to participate in the walkout. So does that mean that you agreed with it? But because you felt pressure to walk out because you agreed with it, or you disagreed with it but you walked out because of peer pressure? So a sense of duty. Yeah, we still got people going. Well, they went to the government center today. Obviously, my opinions don't represent JROTC or the U.S. Army, but one of the first lessons that we learn is to stand up for ourselves and stand up for what we believe is right and to be a voice for the other people, he said. I think that's still one of the most important lessons I've learned. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, you've got to be... You can be respectful. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being nice. I mean, here's the thing. You make it sound like we have to be mean to people. There's no one being mean to anybody. You can be respectful, but that doesn't mean you can't have conversation. But this idea that let's see, how can I put this? I don't understand why it has to be a topic that is in school. If you're out of school and you want to have, go talk to people, why does it have to be at the school? Why can't it be outside of school? Why can't it be in another social setting? Why does it have to be at school? In Wiesbaden, senior Molly Singleton, 18, helped organize Thursday's demonstration at her school. Singleton said that prior to the Pentagon-directed changes, some teachers, so, okay, you can't have a teacher-led prayer for, prayer acknowledging Jesus, but you can have hung signs. Some teachers had hung signs on their doors indicating their classroom was a place where students feeling harassed or bullied could find support. Those signs have been since removed. A walkout is a demonstration of unity, she said. We stand together to reaffirm our commitment to inclusivity and to show that no policy can take away the culture of acceptance that we have built, Singleton said. Again, why does it have to be necessarily at school? I mean, whenever I worked, if I wanted to have, we had a group of us that met. We did not go to any particular office. We went to a neutral location. We may not, I mean, the building was owned by a private company. So we would go to a different part of the building, and it was employees from other, but we did not, we met in a social setting. We brought our lunches, we did this, but, you know, so why does it have to be in a school setting? Why can't it be in a different social setting? If they want to talk about that information, why? You know, you go to school to learn your ABCs, so I don't know. I kind of find it in some ways ironic, in some ways disturbing. I mean, kudos for them for I guess, for what they believe in. They have the right to believe what they believe, but come on. Be a representative of the country. Your parents are military. I wonder how many of the parents were given a choice to leave or not and brought back to the States. So what do y'all think of that, chat? Yeah. Let's see. Well, yeah, yeah, it's fat free or whatever. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it funny? I wish I could bring up those, I wish I could bring up the videos of, you know, nobody cared when it, oh no. Nobody cared when it was Nancy Pelosi or Schiff or anybody else saying things, but once it's President Trump, I didn't mess up that. Okay. Well, so far so good. I'm able to share. So what are y'all thinking out there in chat? And oh gosh, there's just too much. There's just too much that goes on, and let me see. Anybody want to do some, hey Carol, anybody want to do some deltas today? Actually, I think, no, I want to go, I think I want to go different direction today. Let's see. Oops. All right. Let me see. You want deltas? So y'all rather have deltas? I'm driven, well, I want to do stuff that you're interested in. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, let's try this one. All right. C. Okay, let's see what he has to say. Here we go. I don't know, maybe I just can't share videos. I don't know. This is, you know, I had that same issue. I couldn't share sound. For some reason, the sounds wouldn't come on.
Did you write a swastika on there?
I'm sorry you're upset.
Did you write a swastika?
It didn't even work. Apparently it doesn't work.
Did you write a
The crayons
swastika
don't
on
work.
the? It's a key, sir. We see it on the video.
It's not a key.
This man was just caught drawing an offensive image on a Tesla.
What's it look like when Tesla attackers are caught red-handed? It's a thing of beauty. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is...
Let me try something real quick. I'm gonna stop share for a second. If I can't get it, if I can't finally get it to stop, then we'll do deltas, okay? Anyway, let's see. All right, let's see if I can do this again. Man, it's really frustrating when that doesn't work the way I hope it goes. Okay, let's try this.
where we call out lies, hypocrisy, corruption, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters because truth conquers. Boy, I don't like domestic terror.
Okay, come on, get out of there. Okay, wait a minute.
I don't like Tesla attacks, but
Okay, you know what? There we go. That might be it. Maybe that will help it.
there's some sweet poetry in motion when they are caught red-handed. By the way, still so dumb they don't realize the only car
Okay, I won't, what? Page is having a problem? What page is that? All right, guys. Okay, we only have about 20 minutes or 40 minutes. Come on. Okay, freeze, spoke. And then, okay, we'll do the deltas. Yeah, I know, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, why? I mean, well, I gotta you forget that they're high schoolers and not elementary school. Alright, Q Ag News. Okay. So let's see what kind of deltas we can get into, dive into. Let's see, let's drop with yesterday's deltas, because it's been a okay. So we had 20 deltas for yesterday, April the 3rd. Let's see what we got here. Wow. Okay. So, first delta we show. Let's see. Drop 1008. That, oh. Okay, that's 40404, 2018. So it was not supposed to be revealed. POTUS is not under criminal investigation. Not yet. So we already knew. Traitor. Massive intel sweep. Manafort was a plant. Trace background. Open source. Who was arrested? Not U.S. Trace background. Open source. Carter Page was a plant. Trace background. Open source. Why is Mueller going after inside plants? Ooh, does anybody remember Gina Haspel and her little picture, and everybody was trying to decode it, and she had that house plant? Flynn is safe. Defined witness. Can a witness hold a position of power or influence while ongoing? Russia. Fake or real or fake? Fake. J8, was it Julian Assange, Seth Rich, MS-13, 187, brackets, 2-24-distance, and then we have MS brackets 13. What's been happening with, what have we been talking about lately about the MS-13? You know, the MS-13 guy that's, I don't know if it's the same thing I've been reading, that he came into the country like 17 times. And, you know, I think they were trying to make him like a father or something. And then brackets 13 equal M. MSM, the wheel. No investigation into who was WL. Anybody remember who WL is? Anyway, WL, I don't remember who WL is. Oh, yeah, and I see that checking on the weather going to rain more. You know, I was talking to another thing I was talking about to Chris, and I'm going to I'll get back to it. But what do you think? You know, what do farmers, all this weather stuff going on, the weather patterns. And I know, right now it's just really hard for me to believe a lot of stuff is organic. Not that it can't be, but with all the, how we've been brainwashed and manipulated all these years, these decades, it kind of makes me wonder if some of these weather patterns are really an attack on our crops, our food supply. Well, everybody's thinking about the chemtrails and the heavy metals being attached to our food. What do farmers rely on for their crops? The weather, right? If it's too rainy, it can, it drowns the crops. If it's too cold or, depending on the crop, they got to plant at a right time. If it's too windy, too dry. If it's too dry, then the crops can't grow. So, I mean, I just want to put kind of that thought out there. I had that thought. So, let's see. No pull down of NSA metadata traced to, was it Clinton to who's WL? No pull down of NSA metadata, period. Nothing transferred across web, direct to direct bypass dump. No direct investigation into DNC computer software. No direct investigation into, was it Schumer? Is C.S. Schumer or FBI G simply trustees report on data breach. States White National City A1 attached. America for sale. Cheating Obama. Trust the plan. April showers. And this looks like it is and then the question is, troops on border clown black ops, private funds raised how? Troops at border does what? Impact to who? D's involved, MS-13 illegals roadblock, sex traffic roadblock, children roadblock, drugs roadblock, guns roadblock. China, Russia pass through Intel pull roadblock. Name we don't say, Arizona roadblock. Jeff Flake, Arizona roadblock. Big money. Terminate. Or we can say terminate. The wall means more than you know. The fight for the wall is so much more. Okay, and that was and that was 1009. So we have then they did remember a lot of these drops were repeated. They were basically repeated, and they go on, just kind of build on top of each other. So again, it's just a repeat of 109. Then it comes down: money, power, control. People are simply in the way. Slaves, sheep, pawns, events designed to decrease threat level of population, gun control, wars, brackets fake, brackets top happy, brackets back end deal, election rigging control. Your voice does not matter. Pharma, brackets D, class D, water, air, chemicals push for home use, cleaning, brackets cancer, baby on floor hands. Remember the You know, the pictures of the babies getting was it foot to hand or hand to mouth disease? That didn't last very long, did it? Let's see, the start. Vaccines, brackets, not all. Tobacco, opioids. Ultimate win, brackets, death plus money. The Fed, Rothschild, conspiracy. UK, Germany, 5 days, brackets, choices, yours. I wonder if that has anything to do with the tariffs that we're just talking about. Choices, yours, revelations, enough is enough. And this is just another 1011. Let's see, North Korea defused, Russia testing new missiles, Russia new threat, coincidence? They must maintain threat to retain power and influence. Are you awake? I think we're getting there, I hope. Again, this is just a repeat of our thoughts and prayers are with the 4 U.S. Marines from the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing who lost their lives in yesterday's Southern California helicopter crash. We pray for their families and are great at USMC. Their sacrifice will never be forgotten. Now, you guys, and this is something I don't know if it's been covered here, but there was 3, was it 3 Marines or airmen lost their lives when their aircraft went underwater. I can't remember again. Here's a repeat. Twitter, clowns, Operation Q-T2810C, false drops, bot push, future quote conspiracy, push to norms, bad mixed with good, taint, they are scared. There's another repeat. Was it Mark Zuckerberg to step down as chairman? Mark Zuckerberg out of US. Yeah, and Mark Zuckerberg said he was going to stop fact-checking the algorithm, right? Jack, good luck. Let's see. 115, and example, Gateway Bridge Project. 1.8, was that 1.8 million? Cory Booker, Singapore, 3.5 million? Chuck Schumer, Israel, 400K, Chris Christie, Mary Pat US, Anonymous Bill, the gift that keeps on giving. So they're showing how, I mean, it's telling you right here, the USA, I mean, you're seeing how they did the fraud with the USA ID right here. Okay, hold on. Why are you doing that? Let's see. So he's saying timeline, January 20th, 2017 to at the time of this, which would have been April 4th of 2018, so that's a little over a year. Cross against POTUS schedule, you know, this is when, excuse me, President Trump was doing his, was it the concession? He was going to the different countries, and everybody was actually bowing down to him at that time. They're conceding his, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And President Trump was being followed. Cross against White House visitor log from November 22nd to January 18th, 2017. This will become very relevant very soon. And again, the Analysis Corporation, or TAC, happy hunting. So the Analysis Corporation was the intelligence solution business of global defense. Let me see if I can. Global defense system, now renamed Sotera Defense Solution, a defense contracting company. Founded by John Brennan in 1990. Interesting. So the TAC was the intelligence solution business of global defense technology systems. GTEC, now named Sotera Defense. a defense contracting company since its inception in 1990. TAC has been working on projects on the counterterrorism and national security realm by supporting national watch listing activities as well as other requirements based in McLean, Virginia. It is wholly owned subsidiary of Global Strategies Group, North American Inc., the operating company of GTAC. So, founded by Brennan, track edits, watch for the magic bot. Okay. So YouTube, well, let's see, this is 119 or 1019. YouTube will add information from Wikipedia photos about conspiracies. Now we know why YouTube is linking Wikipedia to verify. Learning, follow the loop. And then we have 1020, Sean Hannity, crisis, cancel, caravan called off after Trump's tough talk. A caravan of Central American asylum seekers abandoned their plans to march to the southern border of the United States. So crisis canceled. Let's see. Saying they will wrap up their journey in Mexico City after President Trump's threat to deploy the U.S. military to the region. Well, now you see what President Trump's been doing. He's been deploying to the region. Yeah, I'll drop my link. So used against them, National Guard now active. So how long has the National Guard really been active? Or did they ever go back to their states? Referred to old drops regarding National Guard. The wave, that's what I want to do. List the estimated wealth of religious organizations, billions. Vatican Bank, $229 billion. Board of Superintendents, Supervisory Commission of Cardinals, Clown Connection, 1832 Rothschild loan to the Holy See. I remember when we dug into the Holy See. We don't say his name, adios. The protected flow into Arizona is no more under the cover of his health. He will not be seeking another term. Let's see. Quick question. The wall can't be just for stopping drugs, assassins, and child traffickers, which other nations were or are planning to use Mexico. Let's see. As an attack vector in the event of war, is there another Zimmerman telegram we don't know about? Would you invite a country whereby a good portion of its citizens are armed? The ultimate deterrent. And so then we have a Jared Cohen coming soon to a theater near you. 1025, we are sincerely appreciative for your kind words, and appreciation means more than you know. Each one, read in full, we are in this together. Where we go one, we go all. 2018 will be glorious. God bless. And then let's see, I bet he already talked to Putin too. Peace through strength. So all these drops were actually from 2018. POTUS will be up all night. Pray. Watch the news tomorrow. And so today, let's see, how many deltas do we have for today's deltas? Because I really want to go, we only have about 20 minutes. Let's see. While I'm waiting. So let's see how many. Oh, we only have 3 for today's deltas. Not many. 2028, 5x5 Q plus. So I wonder. So thank you for your prayers. Forced reaction, one of many vehicles. intercepts, night, brackets 2, birds, fast movers, 4, force projection, April showers. Do you know? So deadly Thunderbirds crash marks 4th military aircraft incident this week. Has anybody noticed any incidents in the military this week other than coincidence or silent war? Prayer, night in brackets 2. Let me see if there's any deltas for tomorrow. Curious. And I'm gonna get out of that. Let's see, oh, 33 drops, we're not gonna have time. All right, I'm gonna put that, so I'm gonna put out my Rumble while I'm waiting. If you want to see what Thursday, and by the way, if you are wait a minute. Anybody who is interested, I have got some new videos on we're still in 1 Samuel, and I've got some new videos up on 1 Samuel if you're interested in going through the Bible with me. So I'm not gonna, let's see. We'll open the door. It's about Snowden. Watch the news. The catch and release. So it's here we go. Drop 10:58 West Coast. FBI DOJ is still open. And what did I just got through telling you about at the school that they were saying that I found out today that they used the FBI, and I thought she said DOD. Maybe she said DOJ. Did a staging area. Anyone called out, I'll do it. Operators on standby. Oh, these are all the pictures of what's. So I went to. I mean, I wish I had. I don't have. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's untruth. Okay. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, truth. Let's see. Let's see. Today's. Did y'all see the truth that President Trump did on let's see, was it today? No, that's just, okay, how do I? Oh, X post. Q drops. Oh, I want truth. No, I don't want deleted. I want. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is oh, I didn't even know I could do this. Tim Scott launches talk show with fellow Black Republicans in Congress. Okay, I'm just scrolling down to see if there's anything that really. Biden trip counter. Okay, so I didn't realize I could do this. You learn something new every day. Pollster also finds extremely close race between Biden and Trump in New Jersey. That was 2024. Okay, that's 2024. I want today. Let's see, what's let's see if we can find today. Let's see. There was only 3 drops. Let's see. But I want to look at that, was it yesterday that President Trump put that the operation was over? And another person has been released. Oh, they finally released another J6er. Where's that? Okay, how do I reset this? Go back home. All right, how do I clear out all this and go back home? So clear it. Let's see. All right, so real Donald Trump. I want to find, okay, never mind. Let's see. You know, I really don't think that Q will be coming back anymore. Okay, so you got 71 Q drops. So I'm just, I don't know, I'm trying to look at this stuff. See if I can find anything on this. Oh my gosh. There's got to be a better way to. There's got to be a better way to. Because I want to find that countdown, the rocket countdown, but I can't find it. I haven't been able to find it. See where we are in that countdown. But, you know, President Trump did the boom. He did booms this week, too. He said boom. Let's see. Hmm. $52. Boomerang, boom, worth remembering. Treason doesn't pay well. Okay, everyone, looks like I'm coming to the close. Ugh. Aren't we ready for this? We are, I think we're ready for the Moab. I think I am, but you know, I know people are upset, and I've said it, here we go. I know I've said it before, as frustrating as it is, you got to remember we only have one chance to get this right. We have double jeopardy. I mean, it's like someone says, why can't all these judges be arrested? And I'm thinking, well, you know, how can, you know, President Trump can't make the arrest. I mean, you can't arrest when you have all these judges, these activists out there trying to block President Trump. What good is it going to do to try to arrest him? And then you have, and someone said, well, can't they be arrested? Well, yeah, but who's going to go out and arrest them? Who's going to go out and arrest these judges? We already know that we got a Congress who's not doing diddly. They're fighting within their each other, trying to get keep blocking President Trump. You got one side trying to block President Trump's agenda. You got another, so. What good is it? You going to get the DOJ? I mean, you got to get the DOJ to arrest these people? So, I mean, I think it'd be great if we can get them to get off their backside and do their job and have them arrested. Hey, Dano. I see Dano's in the house. Hey, Dano. How are you
Deb.
this evening? Hey.
I'm great. How are you doing?
How's it going? I'm doing all right. My grandson is recovering from his getting hit with a baseball last week, and it's funny. He woke up with his eye was swollen, and he went to school Monday with a black eye. So it's like, oh.
And you got a shiner, huh?
It was a nice shiner too. So.
Yeah, those are growing.
So
pains.
how are things?
I remember that kind of stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah, and he did pretty good today. He played baseball today, and he got I missed it because I was running an errand real quick, and my daughter said he got on base and he was able to make a run in, and so.
Very cool.
So, what do you think about what's happening? What do you think about what's happening this week?
What do I think? I think a lot of good stuff is happening. It's gonna be a little bump in the road, but necessary. I think everything we've been a part of with the Trump Q movement thing was leading to where we're at now. So it's exciting times. From my standpoint, I've been in this way before, for 20-something years against the Fed, against the IRS, and I see us going to a restructuring of that away from the usury system. And so it's exciting for me to watch. Of course, we don't know, just my opinion on things, but we'll see things play out rather quickly, if I had to guess. Relatively, next 6 months will be plenty to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that a lot of this we're going to see. I mean, it's be nice to see income coming in back in our pockets within the next couple of months. I know. I still keep harping on California being so corrupt because I mean the gas prices are still outrageous in California. Some places are. It's like they don't believe in price wars. You got some are going. I mean, they've been going up daily. Like 10 cents for like the last 2 weeks. And then now in the last couple of days it seems to be steady, but some places are still over $5. And I have a question for you. So what do you call it when you bring people into a country? You give them free housing, free health care. I can't say free education because for the most part it's supposed to be free. Well, you pay it in property taxes, and then you put them to work for less than minimum wage. What do you call that?
Global replacement slavery system.
Okay. Oh, okay. You went further than I was thinking. I was just thinking modern day slavery because isn't that what they did back in the day when the slave trade was going on? They pretty much, because you had the plantation owners who, they would go out and work the fields, and the plantations gave them housing and supposedly food.
Deb, we've been in a slave system since 1913. We were fiscal slaves, right? And so they were just transforming their version without the European white Caucasian base, Christian base, and so that's why I mean the replacement side. So they were replacing us with fresh faces and trying to amp up their slavery system where they have more control. That's my take. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not. So how did I say it? Didn't I say Canada? What did I say? Canada. It's called Canada. I don't know. What did I say? How did I say it? Did I call it Canada or something? I don't know. Sometimes I do that.
Canada's a beautiful country.
Canada.
Canada.
Well, I was going to say, California is a beautiful state. It's just that the cost of living is, it seems worse now than when we first got here. And if the gas prices, and when President Trump sits there and says the gas is coming down, what they don't realize, he's talking about the oil prices are coming down. I also see it as, especially the states that are keeping the gas prices inflated. It almost makes me wonder if we have not gotten off that petrodollar, and because I noticed, back when I was working for the financial advisors back in, let's see, when did I start? 2012. I noticed that there seemed to be a correlation with the market. When the market went up, the gas prices went up. The first time I think I saw it when it was a little bit different was under President Trump's first term. But for the most part, that's just something I noticed, that when the gas prices came down, so did the market. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that. Since I know you have a background in that.
Well, California just seems quite special. I guess they have golden gas, the way they charge for it. Is it all the taxes that they add on to it? Is that what makes it so costly there?
I don't know, because I don't know. They say that, because I thought it was about the same gas tax as what Texas has, which is 0.9 cents.
I don't know, but gas prices are like $2.59 right now here in Texas. They actually have gone up a little bit. They were in the 30s there a couple months ago, $2.38, $2.39. But I know it's usually double in California, so
oh gosh,
for the same stuff.
Well, and and talk about that, and I'll get off pretty quick. And it made me, and I got to thinking, I really liked staying on the base and living. But you know what? The bases are your typical 15-minute city. And it dawned on me the other day, because most military bases, they have a gas station. They have some sort of, not all of them, but some have a commissary or a grocery store or a convenience store of some type. Back in the day when military was really strong, they had bowling alley, they had movie theater, they have community center and a church, and just your typical 15-minute city, really. And now I saw someone saying that in California, there's already a 15-minute city. That's the reason why they want us on top of each other. But
we'll
anyhow,
see how that works.
I don't know. I just hope that I'm ready for some more stuff to come out this week. And I know everybody wants the arrest, but like I said, we got to get rid of those judges. And once if Congress would just get off its backside and have these judges arrested, and then we could move on with it. Of course, I still blame the media on a lot of all this garbage too. But anyway, it's so guys, it's my time. My time is up, and it's time for Dano's 54. So Dano, I won't take up too much more of your time. So you have a good evening, good week, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good, Deb.
Thank you for coming on and talking to me.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on early and talking to me.
I came in a little early. I might do that again next week. We'll see. Depending on what goes on, there's always plenty to have a conversation about. So we'll see.
Well, it's definitely a lot easier to have a conversation with another host than it is with yourself.
Yeah, talking to yourself. I do that a lot, but usually not on air. Try to watch out for that.
Oh, I talk to myself too, but the question is, do you get intelligent answer?
Well, not always, but I always get an answer. That's the funny thing. So,
Yeah, you got to take you with you. All right.
Yeah.
You have a good one, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Deb. Have a great week.
You too.
All right, PSP, it is 9:01 Eastern Standard Time. April 5th, and I'll give somebody a cookie if they can guess what's special about April 5th. Again, my name is Dano54, if there's a hint. Anyhow, another episode of the Saturday Night Vibe Show. Glad to be here. Lots happening this week. I've got a fun hour in store for you all. Good mixture of entertainment and a recap of where we're at and where we might be headed. And it's basically confirmations of some of the speculation you might have heard on my show. A lot is coming out. You know, future will prove past, and so, you know, we'll get more and more clarity as actions are taken top down, right? But let's start the show off with some shout-outs because you guys are banging out there. Let's see. Out there in Rumble, only one chatter.